I got some live. How you guys doing? So I want to do some rant, but this time it's about music. Finally, I do have music to rant about too. I want to rant a little bit about music, if that's okay. I just go with the flow, and for some reason, something told me to do the Loudness song, Milky Way, which is kind of heavy metal. And then something told me to do Ingve, but not the same old tried and true Black Star and Far Beyond the Sun that everybody, including me, always starts with and maybe sometimes ends with. I did the third song on the first Amy Malmsteen's Rising Force album called Now Your Ships Are Burned. People don't play that one. And there's no tab for it. So how did I learn it, people? No, just kidding. There isn't any tab for it. I mean, come on. Why would you? But anyway, whatever. But suddenly, all of a sudden, I'm a heavy metal dude, kind of. Not only that, but I kind of added that to my thing. I like the Ingve thing. I like the shredding, but the limiting. It's like two different things. Kind of like Alan Holdsworth. We have his lead playing and his chord playing. Well, with Ingve is like the rock and roll Holdsworth to me. He's not weird, spaced out, but he's on that level of he's on a class by himself. First, you have to learn to shred. You have to do that first. Harmonic minor, shred, but that doesn't finish it, because then all you've done is shred. You got to get the rhythm. Then you have to get the rhythm parts down and get the parts to the songs and make it a song. And then, of course, the words and singing to that. And then put the two together, and then you can play Ingve. It's a long, hard thing. But now that I'm doing that, I actually like it. Like, that's my new thing now. I mean, I have a new thing like every second, it seems like, doesn't it? But it was Eddie Van Halen for I still is Eddie Van Halen. I love him, but the guy that I'm just progressing with, because Eddie Van Halen I don't really progress with as much. I just kind of keep the style alive and do my take on him and do what I've been doing for like 50 years. But with Ingve, I'm doing something I just really haven't done, at least not in the whole context, at least not with a song. It's heavy metal with shredding, and it's actually a song, and even singing words to it. That's new for me. And I like Ingve because it's heavy metal, which I do like that style, and it's shredding, which means it's challenging, and I like that. I don't know, I like the shredding too. But that wasn't enough. I've been shredding for a long time. Not a long time, but for a few years. But that didn't make me able to do Ingve. I had to get the rhythm parts down and then sing the words and make it a song. And I haven't done that till today. Well, yeah. I mean, Far Beyond the Sun and Black Star really are shred pieces. They're really not songs per se with lyrics and repeating parts. They're not really so much of a song. They're more like eruptions of Yngwie Malmsteen, kind of. You can play Far Beyond the Sun and Black Star and still not even know much about rhythm, which is a trap and kind of sad, but that's where I was until today. So I'm progressing and I'm having fun and I'm learning, and I think I am progressing, having fun and learning. I think I just repeated myself. I'm having fun, I'm learning, and I think I'm progressing. But I want to rant about music, about how I feel about music, like from a theoretical standpoint while I'm doing all this, I think. Well, let me rant a little bit more about just the music. Well, let me just rant. I'm really, in my theory work, I'm really getting my head around the minor scales. That was let me explain this if I can, if it's okay. Can you guys hear this? Everybody starts with major scales and they just learn all the major scales, and that's cool, but it doesn't make you able to compose music, because music is major and minor, has both combined. If you want to be a classical composer or play in a classical style, you have to know major and minor scales, all 12 keys, all 24 major and minor keys and scales, major scales, harmonic minor scales, sometimes melodic minor, sometimes harmonic major, but mainly major and harmonic minor. You just have to know it. And people lag, and at least I did. I lagged in my minor. I couldn't do the minors as well as the majors, so there was an imbalance, and then I wasn't able to sound good, because when I would do minors, I'm struggling. When I do majors, I'm fine. that imbalance doesn't sound good. But with my last one called Revelations, I finally got the balance I've been looking for. I'm getting better at my minor scales. And now I can do major and minor both equally and back and forth and make it sound like music, I think. And I think that's the challenge. I think that's one. There might be a conspiracy where people don't want people to really compose, so they leave minor scales out because they know if you do major scales only, you'll be a one-sided and you won't be a good composer. Maybe there's a conspiracy there. I don't know. Maybe there's just ignorance or lack of depth or progression. Maybe people just haven't gone that far. Maybe people just don't know the minor scales, or maybe it's a conspiracy to keep people non-composers. I don't know, but that's the trick. You have to do majors and minors and know them both. And then another thing is when you see a piece of music in classical music, it almost always says what key it's in, but that's a trap. Because if you hear Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in D, it doesn't stay in D. It goes all over the place, like every other piece. It's just what key seems to be the main key that they want to focus on. It could have been called some other key. And just because it's called a certain key doesn't mean that that's the key you're all in for the whole song. You're actually all over the place in every song. Every song you get all 24 keys available to you. It's very deceptive to say this is Mozart's 40th symphony in A major. Oh, then that's all I have to know? No. You have to know all 24 keys for every single song that these great composers do. And when you that implies, ergo, that when you make your music, you should also use all 24 keys as well, because you want to be like the greats. Well, you have to know all 24 keys and use all of those available to you in every single song. I talked to Rex, my AI guy, about this a lot. He seems to agree with me on this. So there's that progress and fun stuff. But I want to do another thing that's my own, kind of a tangential to that, but it's still music. I brought my shaker here. Actually, Bertrand's Music gave me this for free, so thank you, Bertrand's Music. I want to talk about the 4 types of music and the way they're broken down to me. Okay, and there's in the middle you have West and East, like in the center, and then you have North and then South. So 4 different styles. I'm going to say West, which may look the opposite direction to you because the camera might be flipped. West is classical music and East is blues. Those are the 2 independent types of music that make up Western mainstream music, I think. Classical music is white European music. Blues music is Black American music. I'm not prejudiced, but that's just the fact that there's a racial thing there. I'm not being racist, but the white European music is classical and the Black American music is blues, and those are the main 2 root. Everything comes from those 2. Let's do classical first. Okay, so in classical you have harmonies are mainly triadic and sometimes extension, sometimes diminished stuff is like sometimes sometimes you have a dominant 7th, which is a 4-note chord, or you have a diminished 7th, which is a 4-note chord. But other than those exceptions, at least mostly, it's mostly triads. Just 3-note chords make up the harmony. Blues, on the other hand, uses dominant 7th chords all the time, and those are 4-note chords. So harmonically, blues is more complex than classical. Blues has 7th chords in every single point, and that's 4-note chords. Classical music is mainly 3-note chords. So it's just dominant 7ths and diminished 7ths once in a while. So there's that distinction. Then there's the scales of classical are mainly 7-note scales, diatonic, major scale, harmonic, minor scale. But with blues, it's mainly 5-note scales, minor pentatonic or blues scales. Blues scales are minor pentatonic with an added flat 5. So now the complexity switches. In harmony, blues is more complex. It has 7th chords or 4-note chords, and classical has 3-note chords or triads. But in the scales, classical music has 7-note scales and blues has 5-note scales. Diatonic scales, classical, 7-note, pentatonic scales, blues, 5-note. So that they kind of swap in complexity, but that's what makes the uniqueness of each style. At least though, two of those are two of the things that do. First, it's harmony, melody, and rhythm in music. So the harmony is like the chords, melodies, the scales, and then there's rhythm as well. Rhythmically, they're also different. That's why I have the shaker here. For classical music, it's mainly 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 1. It's all straight. There's no swing involved. It's just 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a that kind of thing. But with blues, it's swing. 1 and 2, let 3, let 4, let 1, let 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 2, let 3, let 4. Based on triplet, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. But some of the two of the triplets are tied, so it's 1 dun 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 dun. It's do be do be do be do be do be do be do, whereas the classical is do 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 do. Like what DJ said. Blues swing, dooby dooby doo. Classical straight, do 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 do. So there's that. The rhythm is different too. And that's classical and blues. And that's west is classical and east is blues on my grid. Then north of that, again, there's going to be a black and white. North is black music mainly, which is jazz. Jazz is actually a mixture of classical and blues in its own way. The America's classical music, they've called it, and it borrows from the classical music, and then it has diatonic scales, not usually harmonic minor, but sometimes, but mainly 7-note scales, which it takes from classical, but it has 7th chords, 4-note chords, which it takes from blues, kind of, because jazz has minor 7s, which are 4-note chords, major 7s, which are 4-note chords, dominant 7s, which are 4-note chords, and you even have diminished 7s, which are 4-note chords, half diminished 7s, which are 4-note chords. The chords are almost always 4 notes or more. So from the harmony point, it takes from blues. But the scales are major scales. So from melody wise, it takes from classical. And then for rhythm, it's usually swung. It's usually more like bluesy, rather than dun dun dun. You don't hear jazz go dun 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 so much. It's dun 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 dun. You know, it's got the swing there. So it kind of takes the swing from the rhythm part from blues. And then on the bottom, the worst kind of music of all four to me, white folk music, is country music. And that kind of borrows from classical and jazz. I mean, classical and blues also, but in the opposite direction is jazz. Country takes the simple chords of classical, mainly 3-note chords. So most country music is triads. But then it even takes the simple chords of simple scales from blues, and that is mainly pentatonic scales, but usually major pentatonic as opposed to minor pentatonic or blues scales. Technically, blues scales are 6-note scales, but usually country music is the simplest there is. It's just 3 notes, major and minor triads. For the harmony, 5-note scales, usually major pentatonic scales, and it's really bland to me. You know, it's just. And rhythm, I don't know if it's rhythm. Rhythm could be. It sometimes it's straight. Sometimes it can be swung. I don't know. I'm not a big country fan. I don't really like country music that much. But it's but it takes the simplest. Country takes the simplest things from jazz and blues and jazz. I mean, country takes the simplest things from classical and blues. Jazz takes the most complex things from classical and blues. So jazz has the most complex most complex scales, most complex chords. Country has the simplest scales and the simplest chords and the simplest scales. So that's my own. I figured that out for myself, but that's just the way I break down the different genres of music and Western mainstream music based on harmony, melody, and rhythm. So I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.